Welcome to episode 18 of The Hills Have Nerds, the only podcast that's guaranteed to, you know what? No spoilers. You're just going to have to find out for yourselves. Picture it. You've just picked up the newest installment of your favorite game franchise. You're all giddy and filled with anticipation to see what tales of adventure and danger the wonderfully crafted story weaves on your playthrough. You load it up, you sit down, you stare at the screen, eager to experience the trials and tribulations of the hero's journey you've been so patiently waiting for. Your phone dings. A text from your buddy. Well, he's playing the game too. And has just told you the hero's father was the bad guy all along, the mother was the mysterious ghostly voice from his enchanted pendant, and the main character's ex-roommate turned out to be the very fairy queen he had been trying to save the whole time. You quickly try to swipe away, but you've just opened up Reddit, to the game's own subreddit, where with only a glance you can already see the top post is the internal developer roadmap for the next 10 years of the franchise's storyline and game developments leaked and splayed over the internet. It's a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme. It's spoilers and the leaks. All right, welcome to another episode of The Hills Have Nerds. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, and with me, as always, are my lovely compatriots, Aaron.
Hello.
Cody.
I think lovely might be a strong word.
It's not. And Lee.
I love you too, man.
Love you, buddy. And we have a special guest here at the round table of nerddom with us. You've heard him on our episode about Marvel Champions or Nerd Out There. We have the one, the only, the villainous, the nefarious, the downright scandalous Steve.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you, man. I'm glad. It was kind of short notice I hollered at you to be in on this one, but I felt like you have some pretty good opinions about this stuff, and that's what spurred this episode on, really, was some of the discussion that was happening in your all's Discord and what was going on about around the community there for Marvel Champion.
I have some opinions. We'll determine if they're good or not by the end of the show.
There are no good or bad opinions. I mean, there are good and bad opinions, but I think over this, there's probably not any good or bad opinions. What is this, though? What is this? What are we here talking about today? Today, we're talking about spoilers and leaks in the nerd communities that we thrive in, the fandoms and the environments that we run around in and all this stuff. And when we say spoilers and leaks, you know, these things are said with a forked tongue sometimes, right? Like they elicit hisses and oohs and cringes and things. So what are we talking about? What is a leak? What is a spoiler? Does anybody want to? And I'll jump at the same time, boys.
Oof. Well, I mean, I feel like a leak is usually when there's something that before the game comes out that is, in quotations, leaked or put on the internet that the developers didn't necessarily want to be out there.
And we're not talking about just games either. I mean, this is in all forms of media, books, movies, music, board games, for instance, which we'll talk about later on. Again, the situation spurred on this conversation. What about a spoiler? What's a spoiler?
I think you have two kinds of spoilers. We got to be careful with the terminology. So the first kind of spoiler, I think, is when you ruin something for somebody else by telling them the end. Maybe, hey, the hero's father is the bad guy, like we heard in the opening, right? That's one kind of spoiler. And I think the other kind, which a lot of companies now are maybe calling previews, but I started playing games, they called them spoilers. An official preview of a card or of a piece of the game or part of the movie, like something officially given out by the company or the developer or the content maker. That would be a preview, but sometimes called a spoiler. But then I think you also have a spoiler, right? People say, oh, spoiler alert, because I'm about to tell you something about this thing that's been out for a while, and you might not want to hear it.
I want to add in right there to anybody listening there are going to be some spoilers in this episode. When we talk about spoilers and leaks, there's going to be some spoilers. Now, there's not going to be anything contemporary, and I want us all to try to make a conscious effort to not actually spoil anything, because as we talk about some of the more recent leaks that have happened in our communities and in the gaming world or in the world of movies, media, whatever have you, let's try to be conscious of not actually giving out direct information from that stuff. But we are going to talk about some of the most famous spoilers of all time and that stuff. And that stuff's old. And that drives us into another bit of our conversation later on of how old's too old to spoil, or how old's too young to spoil. When's it okay? But first, do you guys know where the terms spoilers and leaks come from? Like where that originated?
No idea.
Nope.
Vegetables. Oh, like a leek.
Oh, nice.
That's a little far-fetched, Cody.
And spoilers, that thing on the back of your car.
Yeah,
So it
he's
goes
got it.
faster.
Yeah.
Rotten
Yeah,
leaks.
100%.
Spoiled leaks.
100% makes your car go faster. Yeah, confirmed.
Yeah.
Cargo vroom.
Well, that's what it is. There we go, guys. Welcome to the Hills Have Car Nerds. That's what we're talking about today. Cars. I don't know anything about cars. I can change my oil and my brakes, and that's about it. All right.
I mean, we can talk cars. I'm good with that.
No one knows about cars but you.
I didn't know he knew about cars. That's a spoiler.
Well, as long as you don't get a leak in your car, you'll be okay.
Hey,
That is true.
We've brought it full circle. We did it, boys.
Anyway, where did these terms come from? So the term leak. So we'll start with leak because that's the least interesting one. So the term leak originated with the term news leaks. So these were like press leaks, political leaks, people leaking information to the press, and that, leak as in like faucet leak or a leak in a hose or something, right? There's a slow drip of information, a little bit is being kind of disseminated out. And some of the most famous of this is what? Edward Snowden, right? Edward Snowden's probably one of the most famous leakers. That was the WikiLeaks guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's still not in America, right? Or did he get arrested? Or
I don't know. I haven't heard.
Couldn't tell you right
about-
off.
I haven't heard anything about.
Yeah, he had
him,
to
and-
he had to flee, and
Yeah.
I think there was
Yeah.
some chatter about him recently, but I don't recall.
Really recently.
Well, maybe within the last year. Like. No, I could be wrong.
I haven't heard anything in a long time about him.
he was an NSA intelligence contractor and a whistleblower who leaked classified documents in the NSA.
Yeah.
He just posted on X, so he's okay, I guess. He spoke at a conference in Bangkok just the other day, apparently. Yeah, he's doing okay. Good for you.
Apparently.
Or another one from the Watergate scandal, Deep Throat.
From the Watergate scandal.
I said from the Watergate scandal.
I know, but then somebody giggled.
It's me.
No, we just said the word deep throat and Aaron giggled because there's nothing more innocent than a child's laughter.
I can't help myself.
And that was, for anybody that know, Deep Throat was the name of the informant that leaked the information of Nixon's, Watergate tapes.
That's an unfortunate nickname.
In the what was that, 70s
Yeah.
or 60s was
Yeah, probably.
Nixon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
60s.
He's the 37th president. Yeah, 69 to 74. It was both. So he was president from January 20th, 1969 to August 9th, 1974. Yeah, who famously was recording his political opponents in the Watergate hotel. Now, Watergate, everything has now taken the gate term of Watergate and put it on the end of things, making it seem like gate is the name for,
Scandal.
some scandalous thing. Everybody knows
it's not?
Gamergate. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It most certainly is not. But I mean, I guess it is now, right? Because language changes through pop culture, through use.
True.
So that's where leaks comes from. When we hear the term leak, that's information being leaked prematurely, right? It's supposed to come out the spout not out of the side of the pipe. But spoiler, and this was really cool, and I didn't know this when I was doing the show notes, and I'm sure you all knew this because you all read the show notes I sent you, but you were just being facetious to play it up.
Well, I can't read.
Spoiler originated in a National Lampoon article by Doug Kinney, the old National Lampoon magazine. It's where the Chevy Chase movies and stuff came from. In April of 1971, and the whole thing was Kinney revealing the ending of famous films and novels. And it was like, spoilers, we're going to save you some time. That was that was the whole thing. And then after that, spoilers then became, predominant in pop culture.
Learned something today.
Did. That's why people come to us, Aaron. That's why people listen to Hills Have Nerves. They listen to feel and laugh. But by the end of it, you know what? You've also learned something.
Well, you ruined my day because I didn't want to learn anything.
I've already learned too much. I don't need any of this. I just want to hear deep throat jokes and then make fun of Aaron.
Thank you, Lee.
You're very welcome.
All right. So when we're talking about leaks, so how do we all feel about leaks and spoilers? So have you guys, interacted with leaks and spoilers? Like, do you guys tend to spoil things for yourselves? Do you seek them out? Do you not seek them out? Like how do we feel about leaks and spoilers? This is probably the deeper part of the conversation we're getting into early, but we have some examples of some stuff that's happened over the years. But I want to get everybody's take. That's the big important thing. Is how do we feel about this stuff? Are they inevitable?
I do not seek out leaks or spoilers, actually.
I typically don't. I mean, caring about them depends on context. For something like a board game, card game, whatever, and I see the card out there, it's like, okay, cool. I see it early, whatever. But for something that's like a story, I don't want squat from that because I want to watch it and experience it as as I watch it and experience, I want to see everything unfold.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like for the things I'm really passionate about, obviously I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Movies, I try to avoid spoilers. However, like I don't care to watch a movie and then go back and maybe reread the book for the movie after knowing, what happens. I'm like, well, I know what happens. So it's kind of a spoiler to myself, but whatever, I don't mind that.
The worst one from the books, though, so it's a little bit different sometimes.
Yeah, because you get just more. The worst one for me, man, absolutely kills me. Maybe you guys don't know this. Don't know this about me, but when somebody, like, let's say, as an example, Nintendo's previewing something, they're doing a Nintendo Direct. If people start sending me messages going, "Did you see this?" That absolutely lights me on fire. I can't stand it. I'm like, give me time. Like, I want to watch that myself. I want to watch that and enjoy that. But it burns me up when people start doing that stuff. So, like, anytime Nintendo has a Direct, I just stay off the internet and don't check messages until I get to watch it.
Smart plan.
But you
kills me.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I don't I don't like leaks because usually those are all unofficials. I like spoilers for story stuff or movie things. I like previews sometimes provided by the company. Like, I'll stay in my lane and say Marvel Champions here or a game like that. They're showing you 3 or 4 cards early. I like seeing those things from the official folks. They give out spoiler cards to people, the other content makers or whatever, and those are fun. I don't like seeing leaks. I don't want to see anything past the current whatever's going on. And I'm with you guys with like a movie or a book or something. I recall when the Star Wars Episode 7, the first sequel was going to come out.
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
No.
Yeah, Force Awakens. Yes. I was so excited for that movie. I put like a add-on on my machine that would blank any word that said Star Wars from my internet. Like you can get anti-spoiler add-ins for Chrome, right? And I put that stuff on there because I did not want to be spoiled. I was so excited for that movie. I got a little let down by the movie, but I really didn't. I really don't want to see that stuff because I feel like it it will ruin that immersion or that impact for me.
Okay, I'm definitely in the minority here, and I'm fully prepared to have the unpopular opinion. I like seeing leaks and spoilers for the most part for certain things. For my video games, I love leaks. I do. For my board games, like for Marvel Champions, I love it when the new information comes out. And I don't care. I don't really care if it's an unofficial or an official leak. You know, if I see it, I'm going to look at it. You know, because I get excited about that stuff, and I want to look. Now, I'm not condoning the illegal stuff that ties in. And we'll get into a little bit of that more because there's like hacking. There's some serious like illegal stuff that goes on to procure some of these leaks. But I'm talking about like and again, we're going to talk about this in a minute. So for the Marvel Champions situation where someone got a pack early and posted it, like that's fine with me. I thought that was really cool. I got to see everything. Dude bought the pack. It wasn't stolen from anybody. You know, that was cool. I wanted to see what that was. Spoilers on the other hand, like for movies and TV shows, that I want to experience. I don't actively seek out spoilers. I love what's the word? Like theories, you know, like the conversations that people have of, oh, what if this means this, or what if that means that? You know, or you know, the theory crafting or speculation.
The speculation, which you can't do if the entire content is leaked out, right? Because there's no more theory crafting because you have the facts.
Absolutely. Right, but it's gonna be out there eventually, right? Like the whole point is we're gonna get it. Yeah,
eventually. So if the entire thing is leaked on Monday, I don't know, in November, and you're really not going to get it till January, and all that fun is done in a week, what do you do for the next 2 months, right? Like, I don't know. So.
See, to me, and when we're talking about like games and things, so if I look at like, so a big point for me was Pokemon leak season. Now, these most recent Pokemon leaks that, again, we'll talk about going forward are a little more nefarious and not really on that. But there was a time when the Pokemon games would come out earlier in Japan than they would in the US. So there would be just a wave of information that would just wash across every single bit of United States Pokemon websites. So Cerebi.net was a huge kind of forum for that. And they would just start posting everything that was coming out. And I loved it. I thought it was great because I was excited to see what was going on. And that to me, then, once I knew because I had the speculation of what the next game is going to be. And now I know, and now I have my speculation. Okay, what does this mean? What am I going to play this? What am I going to build out of this if we look at it from the Marvel Champions point of view? You know, I'm going to take these cards. Now I get to the next little bit until I get it in my hands. What am I going to build from it? You know, that's me. It's me personally. I'm not saying it's the right way to look at things. It's just the way I look at things.
With the Pokemon thing, that was released by the company just in a different country, right? So the company itself has said, okay, this is out there. And, you know, you're going to, if you officially put this stuff out or you sell it early in one market and not in another, I mean, that's going to go. That's going to, I don't think that's a leak anymore. That's just a spoiler. People have it. It's been released by the company. The leak.
That's what I'm saying. It's still a spoiler. That's like the Pokemon spoiler season leak.
Yeah, it's still a spoiler because you don't have it yet, and it's kind of, you know, you get it ahead of time. For me, it's the leak where somebody, the people who are making it don't get to put it out there themselves. They don't get to market the way they want. They don't get to release it how they want. They don't get to build their own hype, and which means somebody somewhere did something they're not supposed to. Now, okay, maybe it's a guy who bought it a week early at the store, and the store's not supposed to sell it. That's not, you know, you're not going to fault the guy too much who bought the pack. He's excited. He got the pack. He wants to share it. That store shouldn't be doing that, and they should know better. And somebody who maybe has some insider information. I mean, insider trading is an illegal activity, right? And it's sort of what we're going on here. That's maybe a little bit higher up than, oh, I saw these cards early. But the idea is somebody signed an NDA somewhere and somebody broke that NDA. And I've signed plenty of NDAs in my life and never broke them. So it's the sort of thing like you lose trust in people when they can't wait a few more days or they can't keep their mouth shut, right? Like there's some trust there. There's some loyalty, can you keep a secret or not? Like, yeah, I don't know. So that's where when those illegal leaks come out, that's the ones that bug me the most.
I agree. Like that's a big difference for me. I will say for me personally, like between leaks and spoilers, has the game released yet? If the game's released, then it becomes a spoiler, and it's on you to avoid those. But if the game's not released and like illegally, like images or story content or something like that releases, then that's a leak. And I don't necessarily agree with those.
Cody, leak.
Let me share this one with you. This is about my daughter, not so much me, but it's kind of interesting. Her take for me. She doesn't even like to watch trailers of movies. She was like, because they spoil content. I was like, it's pretty hardcore, Jay. She was like, I don't want to see any of this stuff. She's like, I want to watch this movie on my own. And they keep throwing these trailers right here on YouTube. And it's kind of stuff like she has to sit through because of ads and whatever. She's like, I can't skip it. And it's really frustrating me because I want to experience this to the fullest. I don't even want to see the trailer. I was like, wow, she's kind of like extreme about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it on something like a movie that I'm super into. Like, I'll give you this one, Scream 5. I watched the trailer for Scream 5, and little details they had in the trailer spoiled to death in the movie for me. I knew who it was just from like a 20-second clip.
Dang.
And it's like, I don't want to watch trailers for anything like Scream or something where there's usually like a big twist or like a character death or something that is coming, but you don't know who or what, because I mean, that's just the nature of the movie. Right. Because some of the people that's making them don't think about how they're doing it and the little small details they put in. You can still spoil stuff like that.
One of the biggest, what's the word? I'm eating words tonight, guys. I don't know what's going on with me.
Wow. That's usually my job, Josh.
Yeah.
I would biggest like to have that back.
Violators or perpetrators of ruining. So one of the biggest ones was the trailer for the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And spoiler, guys. Spoiler if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, a 20-year-old movie.
Or read the book that came out in 80 years ago.
Yeah. Steve's okay with spoiling this one.
I mean, the book has been published for a long time.
A long time. No, so the trailers for the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, very famously, one of the close to the final act scenes was Gandalf kind of sacrificing himself against the Balrog, right? Well, the trailers for the Two Towers just show Gandalf. Oh, by the way, he's all right. He's fine. Like, that was a big thing. Yeah.
Got better.
A whole big thing, a big plot point, a big surprise, a big plot hook was Gandalf coming back as Gandalf the White, and showing up. And then
that came out in like early aughts, maybe. Is that right? Like,
so it was like 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
we were I was in high school.
Oh, geez. How old are you?
I was thinking like 04.
Okay, so if it came out in 04, the book had been out for 50 years, which I know we're going to talk about how early is too early or whatever, but 50 years seems like, maybe you could have.
Okay, sorry, it was 02. I had to look it up. Yeah, it came out in 02. Sorry,
my freshman year of high school.
Yeah, I do agree though. Like, I don't watch certain spoilers or certain movie trailers if that movie plot is really important to me. If you're waiting, I don't know. Yeah, if there's a twist or this, okay, it's some action movie where, I don't know, it's Fast and the Furious 46. Yeah, okay, they're going to drive fast. Whatever, you can watch that trailer. But
sometimes that stuff excites me more, man. And maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm absolutely weird. I'm not necessarily the kid that wanted to see his Christmas presents early, but I got excited about it, right? But like I was part of the Marvel movie leaks subreddit for a long time, and then people would be like, "Oh, there's a piece of script that is leaked from this, and this is what we're looking at," and I enjoyed that stuff. I enjoyed it, and part of it to me, I think, was that there was a chance this was fake and like speculative, and that there's this kind of game of, is this real? Is this not? Ooh, am I excited about this? Did this disappoint me? Recently I've kind of moved away from that stuff, and the trailers I'm with you guys on. I tend to not like, once the trailers start coming out, it's a little more real. And I'll usually watch like the first trailer for something, and then after, like Captain America, Brave New World, I've not watched, or Captain America New World Order. I have I watched the first trailer that came out. I've not watched any more, just because I don't want to. I know kind of what's going to happen. It's a Marvel movie. I can pretty well predict for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, you could go to like, Screen Crush or somebody, and they'll be like, I'm going to show you the 46 Easter eggs on this one trailer that, was just released. And sometimes those are fun. Sometimes that's great. Like you said, you can speculate and that sort of thing. But by the 5th trailer, you're like, oh, I've seen the whole movie.
Oh, it's Brave New World. Brave New World is the new Captain America, not New World Order. New World Order was its original title back when some of the script was spoiled.
Yeah, I enjoy the speculation part. I liked, when No Way Home came out, when it was coming out, like people were like breaking down the trailer, being like, "Oh, look at this! We think this is going to happen. This is going to happen." They were like, "Oh, we think the spoiler, if you haven't seen it, give them time for anybody to skip." But like, if the other Spider-Men show up, they'd be like, "Oh, look, I think because of this in the trailer," and it was like, that was interesting. But no one came out and was like, "Oh, here's a screenshot." There were screenshots, and I didn't care for them being like, "Oh, here's this guy on the set. We've got him." It's like, oh, don't ruin it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee,
Well,
Cody,
and we're talking all about pop culture stuff.
Sure, Steve. I said your name.
Sorry.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Now, Steve, you want to come onto our podcast? Steve, shut up. Don't talk.
Oh my God, you hurt my feelings. Okay, I'm kidding.
Sorry, what were you saying, Steve?
I'm going to interrupt anyways. We're talking all about pop culture stuff, games and movies and books and things.
Yeah.
Like in the end, don't really, like in the long run, maybe don't impact our lives beyond the enjoyment of it. Like they're not life and death spoilers here, right?
Speak for yourself. I don't got a lot going on.
Okay. Well, the other, I mean, there's other kinds of leaks, right? Like, data breaches, security leaks. Right. Target just gave away all your information because they got hacked and your data got leaked. Like, those are clearly not what we're talking about, but like, got to think about that too,
a little
right?
bit of it is. In a minute.
Yeah. It's something to consider. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody else was going to talk. My apologies.
No, that's a good point you bring up, is that we do, I think we do sometimes have a tendency to disconnect the media we consume from the people who create it. And one of the anti, leak consumption or anti-spoiler consumption points that I kind of agree with, and it does give me, it's one of the reasons I don't really like frequent that stuff as much anymore, is that these are real people that pour time into this, and effort and money, in the case of like a lot of indie developers and stuff, like their own personal financial livelihoods into this stuff. And when it's ripped away, pulled away by not necessarily by no fault of their own, because sometimes, you click a phishing link and you probably didn't actually win that Amazon gift card, but whatever, you tried. What? But and sometimes through no fault of their own. And that sucks, man. And some of this stuff can be nefarious. Some of these leaks can be super nefarious. And that, I think, is a good thing to move on to talking about some of the major recent leaks that have happened. So one of them, again, so we talked about the Marvel Champions League. So Marvel Champions, living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. All of us besides Lee play it. Lee, you've played once, haven't you? Or have you played?
A couple times.
Okay. So there has been, and Steve, tell me if I'm wrong on this when I'm sitting at the table here.
You're
so
wrong.
for the last,
Sorry, wait,
Thank you.
so wait, go on.
Thank you. You fit in so well. You.
All we
villain
do
on
is
TV.
heckle Josh the whole time. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Oh, you should see the stuff I send him off air. So
He does. It's often harrowing, violent, sexual shit. So,
wait a minute.
it's hateful, sexual thing.
Chicken sandwiches.
Oh my God, no! Good Lord, that's an in joke. That's
Hey,
an
move
awful
on.
in joke. Anyway, all right.
Anyway,
Marvel Champions. So Marvel Champions, living card game, Fantasy Flight Games. They release hero packs, and they release hero packs every few months, right? So what ends up happening more often than not, and this is the most banal sort of leak for Marvel Champions, is where there is a distributor somewhere or in some FLGS in some country. I think it's typically like somewhere in Eastern Europe, and this has happened for the last, I don't know what, Steve, 12 heroes?
Couple waves, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get it early. It'll have a release date. Somewhere will break street date. We talked about that in our episode on friendly local game stores, that all game stores are adherent to a street date where they can have product in their store, but they can't put it out for actual sale until a certain date for the most part. A lot of distributors do that. A lot of developer companies do that stuff. A lot of developers do that. Well, they'll break street date. Somebody will buy it, and then they go post it on the internet and say, "Oh, look, I got such and such, and I can post this, and I can share this with my friends. Look, I got." So that happened recently with Magneto, and it spurred a massive conversation in the Marvel Champions community. With, I mean, I think really good points from both sides. And a little bit of contention. I think there was genuinely almost a little bit of a civil war in the Marvel Champions community, which is
on theme.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Steve? You want to talk on that?
Yeah. So one of the points of contention was there's let's call it official community discords for Marvel Champions. There's probably official ones for other games too. Although these are fan run, so the official Facebook page for Marvel Champions, or at least the largest ones. And FFG reached out to those sources and said, please don't encourage the leaks. Please, remove the leaks from your social media and don't allow leaks and that sort of thing. And the administrators of both the Facebook and the Discord said, oh, sure, no problem, FFG. You asked us not to do this. We like your game. We don't want to be part of the leak problem. So those channels and those pictures and those things came down. And I think a lot of that upset people who, I don't know, want the leaks or couldn't wait a week. It also impacted, that was the same week that all the little content creators, myself included, had gotten an official preview card from FFG. And they said, they gave us the card early. I received the card from FFG a week early and sat on it. And they said, you can preview this card on your content anytime between this date and we suggest you do it before the release date, which is this time, right? And so we waited and we released our thing. But, I'm sure that's the same thing happened to everybody else too. Now, all that work you put into your video and your thing and your work, which for us doesn't impact us financially at all. We do it for fun. But, I don't know, it takes the wind out of your sails. You're like, oh, this sucks, right? Because we were all excited to spoil this one card that FFG gave us. And other people are doing YouTube, they're making money off it, and maybe it impacts them financially. So it does, that I think those are the points that caused some of the conversations to take place. Was FFG said, please don't encourage leaks on your social media. And here's people who were given stuff early, and we waited and did what we were asked, and then it was kind of like, oh, that was pointless. So.
There have been, in that Discord, I've been part of that Discord for a few years now. That leaks channel, like the leaks channel and leaks community, have been a part of that Discord for years. You know,
Yeah.
so that's one thing. I can side with the not side with necessarily. I mean, I'm cool with whatever they do. I mean, a little bit, honestly, yeah. If I'm gonna be realistic, I genuinely don't care either way. Personally, it's not my Discord, what everybody wanted to do. But I can understand, just presenting, a little devil's advocate, I can understand there being a bit of pushback when that has been a large part of that community for several years. Whether you agree with leaks or not, that channel and the conversation that has happened there and the people that have participated in that is an established thing. And so I can understand those people having that feeling of, well, we have just as much right to be here with this as someone else does, and a decision was made without our input. Like, I get that.
Well,
to a degree, I get that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Yeah,
there's like there's like 5 other Discords out there. Just go join a Discord that FFG didn't ask, right?
And
that's what they did.
I get it to a degree, I guess, because whenever you're official and you want to have like a good relationship with the company that's making the game, I mean, you want to adhere to the things they ask. Mm-hmm. I mean, they probably could have went about it a better way, as in making an announcement, hey, we have been asked to do this as of this coming date, the channel will be removed, rather than just abrupt, oh, it's gone. That would have been a little bit better, smooth things over. If that's not what happened, I'm not in the Discord. So
yeah, I am an admin on that Discord. We made an announcement. I thought we were really good about it. Now a leak doesn't wait for it to be leaked either. It's not like, oh, in a week we're going to leak the entire pack, right? And it's no longer a leak. So, removing the channel was not a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, it's really business at that point, and if you want to keep good relationships, I mean, the hands are tied. You kind of have to.
Yeah, and FFG was really, really nice about it too. And they, like you said, they hadn't bothered anybody prior to that, but it had kind of reached a point. And FFG has never really asked the Discord before to do anything, And this time, like, hey, the leaks are an issue. Let's not encourage that. And we said, okay, let's remove the channel, and off it went. So
yeah, like I said, I understand. I'm sorry, Aaron. Go ahead.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. So again, to me, if the admins of a Discord, because this is not a Fantasy Flight. Like, Fantasy Flight didn't make this Discord for Marvel Champions. This was a fan Discord that just happens to be the most popular fan Discord, right?
Right. It's just the largest of the fan
Discord. Right. It's not the official Marvel Champions Discord. It's just the largest fan made.
Do they even have an official
Discord? No, they do not.
No, FFG doesn't have one.
Whenever you're the largest one, you essentially become the official.
Yeah, I think we call ourselves, people call it the main Discord.
Yeah, the main one.
The main.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I understand where the other side is coming from. Does it affect my enjoyment of the game if the leaks channel's gone? No. I mean, if I really want them, I'll find them. They're going to be everywhere. People are going to post them somewhere. But I get people that have kind of made that Discord home. I just understand the contention is all I'm getting at there. And that not just to focus on Marvel Champions, but to apply that to our broader conversation. I get why people pursue these things, because you get so excited about the stuff coming out and you want to see it. You are excited about your fandoms. You are excited about the product or the media that they're producing, and you want it because you want to see what it is. And, oh, look, this person has it and they put it out. And if it's something as innocuous as someone gets something a little early like that, where they buy something early and they're able to show it, then that's different than the next couple things we're going to talk about. So moving to me anyway. So moving on, Lee, do you have anything to say about the Marvel Champions things before we move on?
No, I don't think so. Like, I don't have enough experience with that. Like, when I was really into card games, I wasn't concerned about leaks or spoilers or whatever. I imagine I would be in that situation, but I mean, like, I don't really see a whole lot of it with video games. That's most of what I'm into. So, not that situation. So
yeah, me personally, I don't see those Marvel Champions leaks as being like a nefarious thing. There were a couple where it was like, what were they, Steve? I don't know if you knew about them. It was essentially like like a distributor's list of this is the next 6 or 7 set. And there was another one of those that just came out. Whether it's real or not, I don't know.
Oh,
the
actually,
one just popped out.
Yeah, and that's somebody who has access to that information that shouldn't be sharing that information, or their systems are vulnerable online, and somebody needs some IT security, some cybersecurity. So, yeah.
What were you saying, Lee?
I do think I can actually contribute to that. And I think about Cody was talking about the business side of this, and I've actually heard quite a bit of this from my friend who runs a friendly local game store. An issue with
would it be Nathan?
It would be Nathan.
Nathan's been on the show several times. Lee, you can mention Nathan. Hi, Nathan. We love you. He's going to listen to this episode.
So an issue is people will like preview or spoil or leak, or I guess it'd be, if it's nefarious, leak something like a Pokemon set or whatever, and people look at it before the set comes out and go, "Oh, this is a crap set," and then the game store has trouble selling that set, and it crashes prices and all that sort of stuff, and it's miserable to deal with as a store. So it's really, I guess it's intended to be the gamble. If it wasn't a gamble, it wouldn't be. It'd be a living card game rather than a collectible card game. But that sort of thing becomes an issue for stores in particular. And maybe it makes it a little more nefarious, makes it a little more higher stakes, I think, because, if people go, "Oh, that's crap, I'm not buying that," then somebody's hurting for it.
I'm kind of okay with that side of it. Like if someone looks at your stuff and says, "I don't like this, I don't want to buy it," then if you put it out with the intent for them to not see it before they buy it, and then they buy it and don't like it, like what? No, I don't want that. I want to see something before I buy it. So like I'm okay with that, but I mean, it's a gray area.
It's not the store's fault for the content of the randomized booster pack.
Right. So the store's on suffering there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
and they're already suffering, right? I mean, I can't imagine any little store game store is, more than a razor's edge profit for them.
On all the trading card games, especially, it is. You can again go back to our FLGS episode, and Nathan talks on this of their profit margins on that stuff is very, very low, and they can't even compete with the online storefronts that the actual places are running.
And then if it's a bad set, then you're basically taking a bath on it.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
And you have to take a bath on that to be able to buy the next set coming up to be able to sell in the store.
They got you by the
short and curlies. Got you by the cojones.
Yeah, you have to keep buying so much of that product every time. So
especially for Magic, they're anal about what they about their order and everything.
And it is a gray area. I genuinely think that stuff's a gray area because on one hand, I'm okay with someone looking at something and saying, "I don't like the look of this. I don't want to buy it," versus them having to buy it to be able to know if they like it. I think I'm all for power in the customer's hands.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you think about a lottery ticket that way, that isn't going to work. That's what these are.
So that's kind of what ECGs have become.
Right. But we're talking about like an LCG term, but I mean, I guess, sure.
I mean, that's like a few months into the release of the product. I think, Josh, you're right. Right. The packs have been open. People are looking at the cards. Somebody else is interested in this cycle or whatever it is. But like that'll kill your pre-release tournament. Right. And all the hype and the excitement for that initial push to buy these sets could just,
I mean, it's easier said than done, right? It's easy for me to sit here and say, "We'll just make good stuff." But what does good stuff mean when that's in the eye of the beholder?
Especially
you
for
play
something
both sides on this. Like I get it's a gray area. There's nuance to all of it.
Especially for something like a card game where they're making cards that mix and match multiple years of sets. I mean, you have to have a fantastic R&D department to sit down and go, "Okay, does this card break the game whenever we make it?"
I mean, your players are going to be your biggest R&D department, right?
Right, but then you start
it's impossible.
Then you start getting bans and stuff, and then you start getting players that are upset over things like that, and then it starts hurting profits that way, and you start losing faith in customers. So, I mean, you want to have a good system beforehand. I mean, you're not going to be perfect every time, but
I think we strayed a little bit. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit.
How much of this stuff, like, I know we talk about leaks or whatever. How much of this stuff do you think is leaked by the company? Like we say previews, but then I wonder how often. It might be never. I don't know. Maybe, but a company maybe goes, you know what? Let's pitch this as like a leak, so we can't take the blame, and then it'll just be a preview, see what response is, and go from there.
I'm sure that happens plenty.
There's definitely companies that have leaked their own games or leaked their own stuff.
Like that Greenheart Games, right?
Yeah. So I mean, what we were talking about. So in this part, and it's in the show notes here. I had a couple instances of that happening. We're skipping over a little bit of stuff, but it's okay. So Greenheart Games, they released a cracked version of their game, Game Dev Tycoon, onto torrent sites.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So they released that, and what would happen is if you pirated the game. Kids pirating is what people do when they don't want to spend money on things. Or if they're too broke to spend money on things, they want to buy it. We don't condone pirating at the Hills Have Nerds. Wink. You could play the game as normal, but eventually you would encounter an event that told you, hey, a lot of people are stealing our game, boss. If players don't buy the games they like, we will sooner or later go bankrupt. And then following that, your in-game business would slowly start to lose cash until you're actually bankrupt if you pirated their game.
That's
neat.
Clever.
It's amazing.
But it's also like, for good, the original Deadpool movie.
That's the first thing I was thinking of.
Yeah, they I think it was a trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. They was having a lie detector test, and they had asked Ryan, because it was a rumor that he leaked the initial trailer for the movie to get it greenlit, to get audience reaction, to get the movie actually made.
Yeah.
And his response was pass. Next question. And I was like, no, we gotta do this. And he was like, well, I may have known the person that posted it, just kind of.
He's like, click the button, Blake. That's all you got to do.
So, I mean, he pretty well leaked the trailer for the original movie just to get it greenlit. And I mean, it worked. So.
I'm sure. So, I mean, that brings us to a little bit of like, for these leaks, is there an upside to having your stuff leaked? I mean, for what it's worth, people have been talking about the leaks that have happened. So we go back, there's a Has-Been Hotel leak. There was the giant Pokemon company leak that happened. Insomniac's Wolverine had the playable build leaked through a data breach, but people talk about that. Like that gets the communities talking. Is it a net negative thing?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying about the product. If it's good, man, then people are just going to be hyped for it. So, and then it's like, then it actually just suffers under its own weight of whether or not it's good or bad. So if it's good, then people say, you know what? I'm tore up about this. I mean, I would do the same thing. It's like, I don't want to see leaks. If I see something good, I just happen to come across some kind of good leak for something, I go, oh, snap. I got to check this out, man. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of like, you're at the gas station getting scratch offs in your Red Bull. And, the next few are going to be good. You go, wait a minute, hold up. I got a little, inside trader information, as Steve mentioned earlier.
So before we jump into those three kind of more nefarious links I mentioned, there was one more instance of a company leaking its own game. I don't know if you guys read this on the show notes. Crotium or Crotium or whatever, they're a Croatian-based development team. And some of you guys may know this game, Serious Sam 3 BFE, and BFE stands for exactly what you all think it stands for. Anybody remember Serious Sam? The shooter Doom style.
Yeah, never played them, but I know what they are.
Okay, yeah.
A riff on Duke Nukem, maybe.
Kinda, yeah. And I had like the original Serious Sam for PC, like on Windows 95 or something.
It was Duke Nukem for people who couldn't afford Duke Nukem.
Pretty much for people that didn't have a console.
Yeah.
So it was Serious Sam 3. They put, and this is what they called it, word for word. They put the Anti-Piracy Scorpion in their game.
They did, yeah.
The Anti-Piracy Scorpion. Aaron, do you want to tell people what this Scorpion was?
Wasn't that the one where if you pirated, they at one point in the game, that gigantic like wasn't it like a robot scorpion guy would come and just like chase you down and murder you the entire time?
That's kind of. So if you had downloaded so they released this, they put this out in their game that if it in the game files, it could kind of tell if you torrented or pirated this game. And if that was the case, the game would spawn in this massive scorpion, this robotic scorpion boss that would chase you the entire time. You could still play the game. You could still go through the game.
Yeah.
But it would be with you the entire way. And it was unkillable.
A matter of fact, people were starting to try to do speed runs.
They were. People loved it.
Yeah, they were trying to beat the
speed
game.
Run community is wild.
The scorpion would kill you.
Yeah, and people did beat the game with the scorpion.
Yeah, the speedrun community is insane. There's like, you know what, the scorpion's chasing me. I'm gonna see if I can do this with just a knife.
I will pay twice the amount of money for this.
That's what you've seen, and you saw people that were getting on, and they were asking like, "Hey, how can I want to buy this game, but I want this scorpion. How can I do both?" You know, and they want that to happen pretty much. I think it was a time before modding, but like I mean, I think there was a console command at that time. Remember console commands?
Console command. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you can get on that, but that to me is a company like, oh, this went better than expected, like failing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Now, but the problem was their stuff was being pirated, and they felt the need to take action against it. And this was their creative way of doing it.
Oh yeah,
which worked out for them. But they obviously enough people were pirating the game, so the company's losing money. Where's Crodium now? Probably nowhere, right? So
I have no idea.
That might not be related, but
Who
still,
knows?
Yeah.
It seems kind of like, man, I really, really enjoy going to prison. You think I can do that without Grand Theft Auto? Is that is that an option?
Pretty much. Now, I think our official stance here, I know mine personally, is if you can afford to buy a game, buy it. Like, support the people that make the stuff we like. Support indie companies because they're the ones that are, not the large, giant, faceless run corporations.
Yeah, I mean, if people don't buy enough of it, they won't make any more of it.
Right.
So
they're you're not shutting down Sony by burdens. You know what I mean? Like Sony's not going to.
Wizards of the Coast is just fine if their stuff gets, a couple cards get leaked.
But your smaller company, your guy that's self-publishing his cozy game on Steam, that he's a one-person team and he's just poured all his extra time into it post-work, like pirating that game, or
I don't know. I feel like Concerned Ape's doing pretty good for himself now.
And I'm not talking, he's one of the faceless ones now. He's part of the bourgeoisie.
Apparently Crow Team or however you pronounce it, is still around, man. They made the Talos Principle.
Oh.
In 2020, they were acquired by Developer Digital.
Well, that's
Devolver Digital. Yeah.
Devolver. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
That's cool.
All right. So we've had a little fun. Let's move more into some nefarious stuff that I think we all can agree is this is wrong. This is wrong.
Just like
so, I mean, maybe, I don't know, somebody out there listening, like cheering for the bad guy. We got a villain on here that's, he's.
Yeah, I'm a villain, but I'm not a jerk.
Yeah. You're
Just
a villain.
he's a bad guy doesn't mean he is a bad guy.
Bad guy. Yes, thank you.
Satan.
I figured Steve be on here like hoisting the friggin' skull and crossbones for piracy. Just be ready for it.
No, I mean, people can download my stuff for free as it is. So why do they got to hack it?
We're going to leak the new episode. I want to leak Daniel's next song.
Ooh, okay. I can get behind that. We'll talk later.
Listen, we can make that happen.
All right. So anyway, getting into so what we talked about with Marvel Champions was a case of somebody buying something and being able to share it early. Mm-hmm. That's not someone nefariously going in and circumventing security. That's kind of a comedy of errors for someone to get that and then be excited to share their friend, whatever. Like we said, we can understand that. But if we look at Insomniac's Wolverine, there was a playable build that was leaked through a data breach. So that is a hacker purposefully infiltrating their information and taking data. So information for Spider-Man 3, for Marvel's X-Men, games that people hadn't even heard of at the time were there. And this playable build started just popping up all over YouTube as people were getting this and putting this out and just getting the data through, or getting that build through that data breach. And that's one thing. The game leaking is one thing, but this breach also stole employee information, employees' personal data.
That's no good.
Just like Sonic says. That's no good.
No good.
Still there, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were dramatic pause. Or...
I was stopping to let people say something, and all I got was Aaron and Cody going, "That's not good."
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Aaron said it, and I had to go Sonic.
And respond.
I mean, obviously, this is a leak beyond, a spoiler kind of situation where,
Right.
Nobody wants identity theft. Nobody wants their personal information lost. That's a cybersecurity data breach problem. That's somebody purposefully trying to harm other people. And, I hope there's no gray area there. That's just bad.
Yeah. No.
Well, that's the problem with the leak environment, with the leak fandom or whatever, where we're clamoring for this information. We want these leaks to happen. We consume it when it comes out. We're suckling at the teat of the leakers, but this information is given to us more so now in today's environment than before, but this information is given us through increasingly nefarious means. So moving forward to the Has-Been Hotel. Has-Been Hotel, Aaron, you've watched Has-Been Hotel, right?
I have.
You want to tell us what Has-Been Hotel is?
Has-Been Hotel was a animated series.
Is an animated series.
Is an animated series. Well, it was set online originally, and I'm trying to remember what the creator's name was. But she put it online and actually got a lot of people, some friends, to act it out. And it got
Cartoon.
a lot of cartoon to voice act it. And it got a lot of traction. And then Amazon ended up picking it up. And now it's an Amazon animated series. It has one season and coming out with a season 2 soon.
It's this chick and her girlfriend working at a hotel in hell, right? Like an animated hell.
Yes. So the whole idea is that they are in hell and they are creating a hotel for people to redeem themselves and go to heaven.
So apparently, have any of you guys heard of this hack? What happened with season 2 of this show was, I guess, about to come out or was supposed to come out soon. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
Yeah. So a hacker got in, and they're not sure like how, because there were several different production companies that were involved with the creating of season 2, but was able to get so much information, like storyboards and full episodes, almost the entirety of season 2, and then was trying to sell it. Was trying to sell it off. He leaked a lot of it, but then got employee information, and same deal. Like this is a data breach. This is somebody stealing personal information, employee information, social security numbers, bank accounts, that kind of stuff. Like, look, I can watch Has-Been Hotel soon, quicker because of this fantastic Robin Hood. No, he's not Robin Hood. This dude's a dick. This is not good. And thankfully, this guy has been caught because he was using his personal bank account for the transaction. He was trying to sell it on Telegram. Cesspool.
Genius.
Yeah. And he's on the hook for like almost $100,000 in fines.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
Oh. No, I
Yeah.
hadn't heard. I seen that they had some leaks come out, but I hadn't heard any story behind it. Jeez.
That's Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just saying that's what I'm talking about is, the environment that breeds this, that breeds the want for these leaks. That's why, I say it's kind of a gray area, but it's on one hand, hey, these leaks come out, makes the community happy and we get to see this stuff we're excited for. On the other hand, it's breeding these more and more desperate and like ruthless thieves, essentially.
Yeah. Just straight up, yeah. It's just thieves.
In any case like that, the dude should be in jail going as far as he did, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can relate that back to the original kind of point of the stores that were, if people start leaking this content early, or whether it's, Marvel Champion sort of stuff or Pokemon or whatever kind of cards too. It's like that's affecting people is kind of the big thing. It's like, it might be like, yay, personally, I can be, I don't know, selfish and be like, hey, I can get this earlier, yay, or I don't have to pay for this. And it's like, but people are hurting because of this. It's not just like, big companies or whatever. It's like there's people that work for those companies too, and they're not going to be like, "Ooh, I'm sorry, guys, we'll just cut our profit." No, we'll cut our employees. No big deal.
Yeah,
true.
So then the other most one of the most recent like giant data breaches happened, one of the giant leaks, and dude, Pokemon Twitter, Pokemon Reddit, Pokemon Discords, everywhere has just been absolutely bursting at the seams with info, since this 2 terabytes of info from decades of Pokemon development was stolen. I mean, for lack of a better word, stolen from Game Freak through a hack, a data breach in August of this year. It started being released in October. And this is old documents, old info. These are cut mechanics, like scrapped games, like playable copies of scrapped games. I mean, like hundreds upon hundreds of, Pokemon that were dropped out, that were cut, data about upcoming games. But through all of that, and there's the Typhlosion crap.
Fan fiction.
Yeah. What was essentially like non-canon fan fiction that was poorly translated from Japanese.
What's sad is how I found out about that is I started seeing memes about Typhlosion. I was like, I don't understand what this means.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like, what's wrong with Typhlosion?
We're not going to go into that. If you're interested in what's wrong, but it's out there. It's out there. Find it.
Sadly.
Yeah.
But again, it's all fun and games. Look at all these old Pokemon that we could have had inside our games, but they didn't. They cut that, and that's all interesting, right? Does that hurt anybody? In the grand scheme of things, probably not. You know what does hurt people? 2,600 employees' personal information was stolen in that data breach. 2,600 employees of Game Freak.
I mean, that again, that's not anything to do with the games or anything. That's
just
personal
malicious.
information.
Yeah, it's just crime.
Yeah.
It's just flat crime.
It's just crime.
It's not even a Robin Hood situation. It's just robbing. You're just robbing.
You're just robbing. Yeah.
I rob from the rich.
That's crime.
Right.
Rob from the rich and
rob
give
from
to
the
the
rich.
needy.
No, I rob from the rich. Done. End of statement.
That's it.
Except he was stealing from some of the employees there. I'm pretty sure most of them weren't rich.
Yeah, they're just, yeah.
Well, you mean game developers aren't all rich living in mansions, Cody? It's such a luxurious way to be.
Yeah, right.
It's a luxurious job.
Okay, so we're short into I rob.
But yeah, I mean, it's awful, man. Like when you're able to take a peek behind the curtain of just, oh yeah, I'm the lowly consumer, and this is me, the consumer, getting a chance to get a leg up on the big faceless corporation. Mean old Game Freak and Nintendo. First off, what Nintendo's doing to Power World is criminal. I want to say that out loud.
Well, they're also currently suing a streamer over emulation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel bad for Nintendo. I honestly don't really feel bad for Game Freak as a company. I feel bad for the employees that this is affecting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Nintendo does not have the best public image right now.
Let's just not feel bad for Nintendo. I love their games, but man, I thought you're just
the like cartoon mustache twirling evil at this point.
Yeah.
We're not condoning Nintendo getting hacked because we don't want the people, the great developers and game designers and the people who work on the games that we love at Nintendo to suffer. We're not condoning that.
No, of course not.
But I mean, to be fair, like they made their point. Like I legit am like, you know what? I'm gonna be careful what I do with Nintendo, man. They're scary.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, I saw your child was playing Pokemon. Does she have a license for that? I'm like, oh no, hold on, she's just a child.
All right, let's get on to something a little bit lighter. Anybody have anything else to say? Like any kind of like final words about just leaks? We're gonna move into like spoilers and us being spoiled and stuff. But just leaks in general, I think are the darker side of the leak spoilers stuff because leaks can come from some truly, you know, nefarious stuff. Anybody got anything final to say?
No.
No. I don't know. Maybe this is the spot for it. So I'm old. Okay, you guys sound like young children to me. I have no idea how old any of you guys are. But when I was growing up, I'm gonna be the grumpy one. When I was growing up, and I walked both ways uphill in the snow, barefoot, right to school and stuff. There was no internet. You did not have the internet. You did not get a leak. You did not get a spoil. You waited till your buddy bought the thing, and then you went to his house and you looked at it. And the times have changed, and cultures have changed, and everybody wants everything now, right? We're inundated with what's the next thing, what are we doing tomorrow? Nobody's happy with what they have now. So I think there's maybe, you know, this is an internet culture where the leaks and the spoilers and the anonymity behind being able to do all of that has taken this over. And I think it's just kind of made the whole thing a little worse than it might be without that, right? If you're looking someone in the eye and they say, please don't spoil this for me, most likely you're not going to. But if you can just type away on a Reddit subreddit, you know, it's a different thing. So I think, remember, there are other people out there, those people who made the game, the people who are trying to market the game, the people who are trying to enjoy the game or whatever the content might be, and enjoy what you have now. And as stuff comes out, then enjoy that. So that's my soapbox on old man yells at cloud.
I would say, Steve, we have definitely become a society of instant gratification.
Oh yeah,
that's what we want.
We're not happy with what we have. We're always looking for the next thing. It's like my kids.
Yeah.
We go to the pumpkin farm with them because it's, you know, Halloween just recently passed, and like, okay, what's next? I'm like, we're still at the pumpkin farm. We're doing this. Like, slow down, man.
Just enjoy this right now.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. So yeah. But I think, Josh, you were going to take us somewhere fun. So let's go somewhere fun.
Yeah,
I enjoy fun.
I have a question for you guys. We're talking about society.
Is it a fun question?
Kinda. This is kind of a hypothetical, like Schrodinger's leak type deal, or is this considered a leak? You know, so walkthroughs. I remember when I was playing games, like walkthroughs were a big thing.
Oh yeah.
You know, is that a spoiler? Like, is that like Prima Games would publish strategy guides? You would see those on the shelf in the electronics aisle next to the video game you were buying. And it had, here's all the tips and secrets and everything right here. Those were the companies publishing those. That wasn't somebody going out and getting the game and popping it out. Like, is that, you know, those are front and center. That to me is very similar to me popping on Reddit and scrolling through and seeing, oh, look, there's a big spoiler for a game that I'm about to buy.
I would say still spoiler, yes, but you have to actively go and pick it up. And it's like, I don't scroll through Reddit at all. So, I mean, I never see anything like that.
And for those guides, the game is out. Maybe it's the publisher's thing.
We're talking about spoilers. We're not talking about leaks. We're talking about spoilers at this point. So the game can be out for a spoiler to happen.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. They're definitely a spoiler, and that's something that people would seek out because I'm not smart enough to beat this game. So what do? I go buy this magazine, or now you watch the YouTube or the streamer or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The media in which that
is something where
you consume has changed, but it's still there.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
No,
yeah, you actively look for that. That's not
Oopsie daisy.
Nobody came up and was like slammed it in my face and was like, look at this.
Well, I mean, are people doing that with spoilers though to you? Like, are people right now like slamming things in your face with really?
I mean, you see spoilers for things
Yeah.
posted on Facebook. Like, I can't get on Facebook if something I want to watch comes out. I can't go look at other things. Like, people are just constantly posting stuff like that. So I feel like it's a little bit different because you have to actively pick up this guide and choose to open it and look through it at the store, or buy it, take it home, and go through it. But
yeah, I mean, the metaverse there has all your cookies and browsing history, so they know you like Star Wars, they know you like Pokemon. So what can we throw at you that has to do with that, whether you're asking for it or not? So
yeah, and I agree to a certain extent. I think there is a little bit of personal responsibility that we do need to take for some of our spoiler consumption. If we're joining these groups that have a tendency to spoil, we do have, as much as we want to say, oh, the internet, the algorithms keep throwing things at us we don't want, you do have a certain level of autonomy there to choose what comes across your streams or where you're presenting. Like Cody said, I'm just not going to get on Facebook because I know that's coming. I mean, or to an extent. If I share something that's a spoiler, Cody's not going to unfriend me. Yeah, he might. But
he should. He definitely should.
I mean, it's the main reason I don't join any fan groups for anything.
Yeah, there's your autonomy.
Like that.
That's picking up the strategy guide. You choose to not do that. You're not picking up the strategy.
I mean, I didn't pick up strategy guides as a kid either, unless it's like I absolutely got stuck and just flat out could not figure out what was going on. But
yeah, and then you tried to quick look at it without having to pay $9.95 for it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's to the left. Okay, go. You run back home.
I got strategy guides to collect. So
yeah,
nice.
Yes, I have a couple sitting on my shelf over here. Never been opened.
Yeah,
mainly one Zelda and Bloodborne.
I was just thinking Zelda, right? Zelda. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it really is. It comes down to like who you're surrounding yourself with and making that active choice, as Josh was talking about, and Aaron was talking about. In what groups you go to. You can probably hear my cat meowing in the background. I apologize. Have at it, Mario. Yeah, he's preaching.
Kills Dumbledore. Snake kills Dumbledore.
Pretty much. He's heinous, dude. He's the worst cat.
Here's a spoiler. Leaf Fouts never feeds his friggin' animal.
I can see the bottom of my bowl. I know where this is going. We're all going to die.
I said it before. I'll say it again. It's just a crime. It's just a crime. You gotta feed that cat.
But in certain fan groups, like I'm particular about where I go and where I on Facebook and the internet or whatever, because I go look for places where I don't get that sort of stuff. I just had a moment I thought was funny. I share with you. I'm in a group called RPG Sanctuary on Facebook. Fantastic group of people. But when the cone heads pick up an eggplant, they start screeching. That's how that group deals with spoilers. Like if somebody posts a spoiler, man, the screeching starts and they shut it down. So it's like that's kind of people.
I think there's a lot of that. I think it's kind of up to the communities to police themselves, and I think that was what kind of the especially the Marvel Champions thing kind of boiled down to. You had a lot of content creators come out and make some videos. Steve, I know we talked about that a little bit off air.
Yep.
But I mean, there has to be a level for consuming spoilers. Now, we're not talking about leak. I mean, well, I guess for consuming leaks as well. We as communities have to take a certain level of responsibility for this. I can't just say, oh, it's all these other people on Reddit that are making me look at this. No, I seek stuff out sometimes. And if I don't want that to be the case, if I want my developers and the people making my games to be getting the most notoriety they can and their stuff to be delivered in the form that they hope it gets delivered in, then I need to take responsibility and not consume it in a way that was not meant to be consumed. Now, if I don't care about that, or if I just want it, then I go do it. And I think there's gray areas to stuff, but there are, certain things like we talked about with some of the leaks that come from less than reputable sources that we need to be cognizant of. Where is this stuff coming from that we're getting? And what are we promoting by consuming it? Right. And that is to me, a gray area where we have to take autonomy and take responsibility and be more educated and informed about what we're doing rather than just hungry hippos, gobble, 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 give me.
That's going to be a great soundbite.
All consuming gobble gobble.
It's a great point, but also that'd be a fantastic soundbite, Travis. Thank you.
Travis, get the hungry hippos. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Give me. All right. So spoilers. So own encounters with spoilers. So first off, major spoilers through nerd culture. Number one spoiler for me was Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, Gandalf Still Alive, the trailer spoiling that. That was my main thing I got spoiled on that I hated. What about for you guys? What's something you guys have been spoiled on in your nerddom that you are still kind of ornery about?
I guess I'll go since I already mentioned mine earlier. It was that Scream 5 trailer. And I mean, I've done that to myself. But
Lee, Steve, Aaron, anything?
I got mine ready whenever you show me to go.
We're ready for you, baby. Come on.
Dude. It's you said it earlier, so I can say it. Oh, okay, the day that the 6th Harry Potter book came out, I went bought it immediately. I bought it at midnight, actually, I guess, when it came out. Read the book, stayed up all night reading as much as I could, fell asleep for a little bit, and Shane was like, "Hey, man, would you like to go watch Willy Wonka with Johnny Depp?" I said, "Yeah, buddy, I think I can do that. I think I can avoid spoilers by going to watch Willy Wonka, which is starring Johnny Depp." And we get to the movies and we're standing in line, and some dude who apparently stayed up later than I did was like, "Dude, did you see Snape kills Dumbledore in the new book?" I was like,
Wait, what?
"Seriously?"
Who's Snape?
But I was, dude,
Calm down, old man. It's something for kids.
Okay.
It's not for us young bucks. It's not
He's
for
like,
you.
"You're not talking about that witchcraft, are you?"
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that just you want to like.
Dude, I want to hit the dude.
turn around
You
and
could hit the dude,
throat punch the man.
and any jury in the world would be like, "Oh, yeah, he had it coming." Right? You can't do it, but
Ridiculous,
some people
dude.
are going to let you off on it. Yeah.
I was like, "Man, why would you bring that up?" I mean, it was just like out of nowhere, no context. I was like, "What a dirtbag came to
I
this."
just sat down. Who starts a conversation like that?
Right? I mean, like, it's like, come on, dude. That was probably the saltiest for me.
Steve, Aaron?
I
definitely
know
been.
things. Oh, go ahead.
Go. No.
I was just gonna say I know things have been spoiled for me, but honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of a major spoiler that I was like.
That's why you can tell Aaron's immune to spoilers. He has the memory of a goldfish.
It's true.
He's completely immune to all spoilers.
I mean, he's already
Season-
forgot how the episode started. So
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We were halfway through, forgot what episode we were.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I know I've been spoiled on stuff, but I cannot think of anything at the moment.
Steve and Aaron will not remember each other after this episode.
That's
Who's Steve?
10-second Tom, man. I tell
Yeah,
you.
who's Steve?
You were in a terrible car accident, Aaron. I was? That's awful. Hi, my name's Aaron.
Oh, okay. So here's one that got spoiled for me. The end of Lost.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we had everyone watch Lost. So we're like, okay, I never watched it when it was first out, like when it was like live. And then people are like, you got to watch this. So we started watching it kind of late. And then the whole thing ended. And they're like, oh, can you believe, the ending? I won't spoil it for anyone. But it was like, well, we just gave up on the show. We just stopped watching it. So, and that was,
Lost is a 15-year-old show.
I
Right.
actually don't know how it
Well,
ends, so
it's like,
never watched
yeah.
any of it.
yeah.
Are y'all going to watch it?
Probably
Because
not.
I'd love to tell you.
I think I might. No, I'm not going to watch that. I don't think about it.
No,
That's a lot to invest. There's a lot of time in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like, we hadn't really touched on this. We were going to say, like, how long before spoilers are okay?
Yeah.
We had started that really late, like it was in its final season, and we just started the first season. And so I guess it was okay. I don't know. But
Well, it's like Game of Thrones, man. Like Game of Thrones has been good. Like there's a spin-off of Game of Thrones happening now. If somebody came up to me and I'd never watched Game of Thrones and they're like, "Oh, you're watching Game of Thrones?" I got lucky. I went into it and had no spoilers whatsoever. And I started watching around season 3. And I was able to watch the entirety of season 1, having no idea what was happening at the end.
nice.
I'm going to talk about a spoiler for Game of Thrones, anybody. So having no idea. So you can cut out now, give you 3, 2, 1, that Ned Stark was getting killed.
He does what?
I know, right?
Oh,
But that was brutal, man. Like watching that, and I'm so glad that was not spoiled for me. Like my mouth was agape until like the second episode of season 2. I continued on through.
See, that's where you made the mistake. He was played by Sean Bean. So, I mean, his character was immediately dead from there.
you knew
he
he
was-
was going to die.
But he was so important. I'm like, oh, something's gonna happen, and he's gonna get saved. He's gonna be the king. All this stuff, and nope, whack, just off, and then fucking head on a bike later on. Like it was so brutal. That and the Red Wedding. Man,
I was gonna say the Red Wedding, yeah. And then from then on, nobody is safe. And
yeah.
So that's this thing where nobody could spoil it for you because you have no idea what might happen. So please don't ruin it for me because I did not see it coming at all. Right? Like, yeah.
What are some of the most famous twists in like pop culture nerddom that could be spoiled that get spoiled sometimes? What do you guys think?
Oh,
I see dead people.
The Sixth
yeah.
Sense.
Yeah,
I
I think
see
that's
dead
the
people.
first thing that
Good
comes
one.
to mind.
Yeah, Snape kills Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He also very
yeah.
one.
Yeah. The Planet of the Apes.
Oh
The-
yeah. That one.
Oh,
I actually didn't know that for years because I didn't watch it like a long time ago. But I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, that's cool. That actually got me interested. I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's check that out.
The Mist.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah.
The main end. Oof.
Yeah, that's rough.
The Village was
main
pretty
end
important
where-
to me. Like
I-
basically, I'm not Shyamalan.
I liked The Village. I liked The Village
did
quite
too.
a bit.
I like his stuff. Like
A lot of people crap on it.
Yeah, well, a lot of people crap on a lot of his stuff. I enjoy it. So
What about you, Steve?
Darth Vader is Luke's father.
that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
A good one.
That's a good one.
I think at this
And
point, nobody
Leia's
cares.
the sister. Ooh, gross.
So we're talking about some older stuff, and Steve brought it. So what do we feel is an appropriate amount of time? I think this is a good little bit of conversation to end on here. So spoilers are a thing, right? Leaks can be nefarious. Leaks can be bad, right? A leak can be an inherently bad thing originating from something bad, but sometimes spoilers can be fun. You know, spoilers can be something fun and jovial and lighthearted. And sometimes it's been long enough, you know, I want to talk to you about this and you've had 20 years to watch it. So we're going to talk about it. Where is a good line to draw? Like if I wanted to talk to you, Aaron, about a movie that I watched that you may be interested in, what do you feel is the appropriate amount of time for me to wait to spoil it for you?
20 years is a good one.
So 20 years? Like, seriously?
No, I mean, literally, I think most of the fandom pages and stuff that I'm on or follow usually wait 2 weeks, and I think
I think that's
stuff
typically
there.
for people that are super into it and just giving everybody time to watch.
yeah, and I think that's a fair time personally.
Big thing for me
Okay.
is just like case by case. Like
Oh,
when somebody wants to talk to me, I'm just like, I'd appreciate it if they were just like, hey man, have you seen this? If not, I won't spoil it for you. And I'll go, yes or
Yeah.
no. I don't care. It's fine.
I mean, just ask them, it's like if I care or not. But I think it's a little more nuanced because, age-wise, Lunar Silver Star Story. It's like a 36-year-old game. Maybe not quite that old. It came out. No, it's just now 30 because it came out in 94. Yeah, I think it's just now 30. Anyway,
94 is a good year.
but it has a remaster coming out in just like 2-3 months, and it's going to reintroduce a new generation to it. And you may want to be light on spoilers for that, just in case, because there's a whole generation that didn't grow up with a PS1 or a Sega CD, and maybe have never even heard of it and see it. I'm like, oh, that sounds neat. So, I mean, it's a little nuanced. I think it's a case by case situation on stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm actually currently playing, like at this very moment, I'm grinding on Dragon Quest 3 HD. Because, it's a lot of grinding to take place. I can do that while I sit and talk. But in this game, like, I kind of wish I didn't know what happened, even though it came out forever forever ago. I think it was like
That one's probably closer to 36.
Yeah, I mean it was forever ago. But I know what it was. I think it would be so cool to have experienced that for the first time. But I know what I won't do it to anybody else, but I know what the spoiler is. So, but it's cool to go, oh man, what it must have been like, even in theaters. Like, how cool it would have been to be in theaters and be like, oh man, Darth Vader's Luke's father. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What was it like, Steve?
Well, you see, no,
Tell me about the talkies, Papa.
did not see that one in the theaters.
Tell me about the time Charlie Chaplin stole your homecoming date.
I did see The Search for Spock in the theaters though, and that had some good stuff you didn't want to spoil. So.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he dies?
Spoiler. No, that's the one.
Whoa.
That's the one before. That's 2. Search for Spock is 3.
I'm a firm believer if a movie or something is over like 30 years old, then
Yeah.
I mean, just get over it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. Like I've never, and I don't care if it's spoiled for me.
I guess if it's something that I'm interested in and I have just recently learned about it and somebody comes up and just starts talking about it, it's like, man, well, I mean, that kind of sucks. I hadn't heard about that until now. Or, something like that. Like I would prefer if somebody asked beforehand, because it might be something I was interested in and I want to go watch unspoiled. Because there has been a few times where people just come up and start talking about things. It's like, okay, cool. I didn't want to watch that anyway, I guess.
Sorry.
Yeah, and that's just like some courtesy, right? With something new. Did you see the new Deadpool movie? Oh, you didn't watch it yet? Fine, I won't talk about it in front of you, right? Like it's not that hard to do. I have a pet peeve. We have a buddy in our play group, and he'll start talking about something. I'll say, "Oh, I haven't seen that yet." Like the episode that came out yesterday because I'm busy recording today, right? And he'll just keep talking. Like, shut up, man! Like I just asked. You said you won't spoil it, but you are spoiling it. Like you not have a filter.
No.
Yeah, literally what you're doing right now.
Right now, I'm like, you get out of my house if you're going to keep talking.
I do my best. I do my best to say, hey, because I love talking about the stuff that we talk about. That's why we do this friggin' podcast. I love talking about this stuff. But I do my best, and hopefully Aaron and Cody and Lee can vouch more, to ask, like, hey, do you, this has happened. I watched this. Do you want me to, like, are you cool with talking about it? Is it okay if I spoil it? Do you want spoilers or no? Like I want to talk. I'm expressing that I want to talk about this with you, but if you don't want to, that's okay.
Yeah.
There's certain things I've given up on, like Marvel movies. I've given up on not being spoiled on those because the only ones I haven't been spoiled on is like the ones I went with Josh to see in theaters.
And for what it's worth, I invite you to every single one, and we watch them the weekend of in a private theater. So you have no excuse to not be spoiled.
Well, I can't make them all the time, even whenever you do that. Because
no excuse.
I have watched, I think, a total of 4 movies in theaters in the past like 8 or 9 years. Whoa. And 3 of those have been with you.
I love you too.
I just don't watch a whole lot of movies. So
what an awkward thing for there to be a 10-second silence after.
Let me love you a long time.
Travis, can you fix that? Make it more like 20. That'd be great.
Crickets after it, Travis.
Yeah.
Crickets after it. Please,
don't worry,
short and silence.
We're up there after the show. Don't worry.
Music. Yeah.
Can we get the I love you then the hungry hippo sound? That'd be pretty cool.
I love you. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Hills Have Nerds After Dark.
Oh man, we starting it now?
Yeah. We're gonna play Who's in My Mouth. Spoilers, it's all of us.
So here's a question for you guys. Have you accidentally spoiled something for somebody with no, like, you didn't realize you were doing it, you just blurted something out, and has that happened to you? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say yes, but I can't think of anything right offhand.
I'll let you guess if you think I have, Steve.
Yeah,
do you think I have? Yes, obviously.
I recently
have. Go ahead.
And
Sorry.
I recently did it. And I felt so bad. Now I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was for my son's girlfriend, and we just started talking. And I kind of thought she was there when we went. It must have been for a movie, And I just blurt. It was so amazing when, X, Y, Z happened. And she just looks at me. She's like, what? I was like, oh no. What do I do? I can't take it back. I felt so bad.
She's like, I'm sorry, this just isn't working out. I'm like,
I mean, no,
I
mean,
Yeah, I had a friend I was talking to today. I mentioned we were doing this episode on spoilers, and I did accidentally spoil a podcast that we used to listen to. And I was like, oh man, this happened. And he was like, I haven't listened to it yet. And I was like, sorry. And he will never forgive me. To this day, he still holds a grudge.
All right.
Stuff.
I think we've said. Have anybody got any final closing thoughts about spoilers or leaks or the community there? What are our final thoughts? So, Cody, final thoughts on spoilers and leaks. What's your advice to people who want to either avoid or consume them, or just what's your advice for people about spoilers and leaks?
I guess treat them like I do. If you don't want to see any, I don't join fan groups for anything. And I mean, unless you are ready to see spoilers show up, I mean, for probably a week or two, very light social media use. Because I mean, it's going to pop up on there if you can't get it within that amount of time. But I mean, you just kind of have to learn to live with seeing some things and just kind of glossing over them. Because even scrolling through Facebook, I have seen spoilers for like pages of One Piece go by, and I'm like, nope, scroll them on past that.
Lee, what you got for people?
I just encourage people to be courteous and mindful in sharing spoilers, and of course, making people aware that you have not seen something. Because I mean, it's real easy to not, like, as someone who doesn't want to be spoiled, it's real easy to like put yourself in a situation where you make other people uncomfortable too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go to a page or a group and you're like yelling at people, don't spoil stuff for me. It's like, well, this is where we talk about it. Then, well, maybe you should get out of the room. You know what I mean? Just step away for a second, dude. Take a moment. It's like, don't go on Facebook and yell at people because of spoilers or whatever. It's like, they're probably going to talk about it on there. Just be aware.
Aaron?
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and lakes you're used to.
Wow.
Absolutely useless. Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, it's echo. Be kind. There's somebody who doesn't want the spoiler. There's somebody who worked really hard to make sure that that thing gets released at the time they want to release it. I think being kind on the internet is the key, because we're all people eventually on the other side of it. I don't know where I'm going with this. Waterfalls. There we go.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Be kind, rewind.
Be kind, rewind. Yeah.
The only thing that I would say is, as someone who enjoys seeing leaks. I enjoy spoilers to an extent. Try to be cognizant of where this stuff is coming from. Just because, this is something I like and it's media I want to consume, doesn't mean that it was always brought to you with the best of intent. When we look at, again, those hacks and things, and these people, if they don't get the attention, if they don't get the clicks, tend to not do these things, so it's up to us to police ourselves and be cognizant of the media we consume. And again, and be kind to people. If people don't want to be spoiled, don't be spoiled. We're all here to watch our funny shows and see our superheroes fight each other and play our games and enjoy them in the parameters of what we enjoy about them. And we owe each other at least in that. Right.
Yeah.
That all being said, do you want to spoil something for us? Let me tell you how to do it. If you wanted to send a spoiler to me or a spoiler to Aaron, Cody, or Pixel Bro Lee, you can email us at thehillshavenerds@gmail.com. That's hillshavenerds@gmail.com. There is no the. You can come on our Facebook. Come over on our Facebook. Search for the Hills Have Nerds on Facebook. We have a YouTube. Check out our YouTube. We're posting a little bit of live content on there. Starting to do some shorts and things like that. A little bit more video content. go to youtube.com /at the Hills Have Nerds, or search the Hills Have Nerds on YouTube.
If you're looking for a place to take a leak, come on our Facebook.
Yeah, go on our Facebook. Take a leak. Take a leak in our Facebook. Take a leak in our Discord. Over here, spoil everything. We got all kinds of stuff.
Where is this going?
I'm doing the rambling outro we always do. Anyway, email, Facebook, Discord, all that good stuff. YouTube's there. Steve, beautiful Steve, where can the people find you?
You can find me at
spoil something for you.
Oh yeah, you can find me at Critical Encounters Podcast. You can search for Critical Encounters on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Patreon. I don't know why you would be going there directly from here, but you can find me, I'm Vardain, my friend Big Foam Loaf, and the Wandering Took on Discord and any of the Marvel Champion servers. If you're interested in Marvel Champions, check out Critical Encounters Podcast anywhere podcasts are sold.
All right, Steve, thank you so much for being here and hanging out.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We got to get Daniel back on. I'd like to get Mike in here at some point.
Yeah.
Yep. So this episode should be out on Thanksgiving, actually. So it should be out on the 28th. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, excellent. So folks can listen to it on their drive to Grandma's house.
And spoiler alert, we're out.
He's good.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
Hungry hippos. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.